Alright, continuing with the clampdown on speech. So shops have been removing their messages because of this terrorism by the police, and books have been taken down from libraries, and an American flag was confiscated from a protester during a local demonstration celebrating July 4th, citing breach of the law. Activist Nathan Law, who testified at U.S. congressional hearing on July 1st, fled Hong Kong to an unidentified location, saying that if he stayed, his speech and appearance would put my own safety in serious jeopardy, given the circumstances. Wow, so just talking and looking the way you look can put you in serious jeopardy. As I found out around the time the virus supposedly got loose. Security apparatus. Chinese officials claim the law would target a small segment of society. Oh, no. Chinese officials claim that the law would target a small segment of society, but the offense's broad and vague definitions sounds like the Patriot Act, as well as a part that stipulates that non-Hong Kong residents could also be subject to prosecution, have stoked concern among legal experts and human rights observers, who say that residents and foreigners alike who draw the regime's ire could be at its mercy once they set foot on Hong Kong soil. Such laws should never be used to criminalize conduct and expression that is protected under international human rights law. So we are behaving like animals at high levels, is what he's trying to say with this statement. The UN Human Rights Office said in a July 3rd statement, expressing alarm at the potential discrimination or arbitrary interpretation and enforcement. The law also mandates that a new security bureau be established in the city. And Beijing appointed ZY, known for his role in suppression on 2011 anti-corruption protests in a southern village of Wuhan, to head the new security bureau, which directly answers to the central government. We used to think about secret police as something abstract. Now it is a very real fear, Law said at the July 1st hearing. I know I had a secret police posing to be my frenemy. Damn. Anyway, in 2016, he won an election to become a local lawmaker, but was disqualified after protesting Beijing's grip over Hong Kong during his oath-taking ceremony. Oh. So he used to almost become a politician. And back then he was criticizing Beijing, but as a policeman, as a good little psychopath, he's doing the opposite. Anywho, let's see. About the global backlash. So far, we learned about the security apparatus, and we're seeing that even in the West, today, where people are getting all kinds of weird charges for all kinds of silly stuff. And there's definitely been clampdown on speech. You can be treated as persona non grata just for expressing your private opinions about very crucial subjects that you feel are valid for solutions, but not for these commies and tyrants. Then we learned about the security apparatus being geared against the people, which you've also seen. First they ridicule you, then they fight you, and so forth. Global backlash. This Chinese regime, as in the past, has responded to international backlash by saying the law and its implementation are internal affairs. What business has that to do with you? Says ZX, Deputy Director for Hong Kong Affairs for Beijing, when asked during the press conference about possible sanctions from Western governments. Interesting. The U.S. Congress has unanimously approved legislation that would impose sanctions on Chinese officials who violate Hong Kong's autonomy, as well as banks that do business with those officials. The UK promised to extend immigration rights to an estimated 3 million Hong Kongers. A decision that roughly 2/3 of the British public agreed with, according to a poll. Lawmakers in Japan's ruling party are campaigning to cancel Chinese leader Xi Jinping's upcoming visit in the light of the developments in Hong Kong. So Japan is just a front for the West, it seems. A British stooge of a nation. The city is the front line in the fight for freedom against authoritarianism, says Benedict Rogers, a London-based human rights activist and vocal critic of Beijing's encroachment over Hong Kong. The city is the front line in the fight for freedom against authoritarianism. Wow, so they're like a very American kind of city, it seems. A London-based human rights activist and vocal critic of Beijing's encroachment over Hong Kong. Interesting. If the regime is allowed to just get away with this with impunity, then it's not going to stop with Hong Kong, he says in an interview for the Epoch Times American Thought Leaders program. The Chinese Communist Party already is encroaching on our freedoms, in your country and mine, and we mustn't let that continue. Warlike words. Last page of the Epoch Times. Breaking bars. Breaking stars. So first, the Epoch exposed Epoch Time. Oh, first they were in China.